Bro, I cannot need you to stop whatever you're doing right now because I just found out about something that broke my brain a little bit. So, two 12-year-old girls, best friends, normal kids, slumber parties, inside jokes, the whole thing, right? And then one day, one of them pulls out a knife and stabs their other friend 19 times. 19. Not in a fight, not because something went wrong, but because, and I genuinely need you to hear this, they were trying to impress a fictional character they read about on the internet. A character that does not exist. This happened in real life in 2014 in Wisconsin, and it gets so much weirder. Let's go. Okay, so before we get into the crime, we gotta talk about Slender Man, because if you don't know what this thing is, the rest of this story makes zero sense. So, Slender Man is not real. I just want to start there. He is not real. He was literally invented by one dude in 2009 for a Photoshop contest on a forum called Something Awful. The contest was make fake paranormal images. That's it. That's the whole assignment. And this guy, Eric Knudsen, goes by Victor Surge online. He creates this image. Tall guy, impossibly thin, black suit, no face, like literally no face, just smooth skin where a face should be, standing in the background of what looks like a normal photo, behind kids on a playground, just there. And bro, people lost it because the way he wrote the captions made it sound like recovered documents, police reports, missing files. It was so convincing that people genuinely weren't sure if it was real. And then the internet did what the internet does. It ran with it. People started writing their own Slender Man stories on this site called Creepypasta Wiki. Thousands of stories, all saying he stalks children, erases memories, lives in the forest, drives people insane. For most people, it was just a fun, spooky internet thing, like, cool, ghost story, moving on. But for two kids in Wisconsin, they thought every single word of it was real. And that is where things go completely off the rails. All right, so let's talk about who actually did this. Morgan Geiser, 12 years old, smart kid, but like not quite connecting with reality in the way most kids do. We find out later she had early onset schizophrenia, which nobody had caught yet. She wasn't just a fan of Slender Man. She genuinely, completely, 100% believed he was real and watching her. Then there's Anissa Wire, also 12, Morgan's best friend, quieter, more of a follower, but equally convinced. And then there's Peyton Leutner, also 12. She was their friend, like she trusted these girls. They just had a birthday sleepover together. Birthday sleepover, the day before this all went down. So, Morgan and Anissa, they had been planning this for months. They read so much creepypasta that they convinced themselves that if they killed someone, like actually killed a person, Slender Man would let them come live with him in the forest as his proxies, his little servants. And they decided, out of everyone they could have picked, they were going to do it to Peyton, their friend, the girl who had just blown out birthday candles with them. Bro, I cannot. May 31st, 2014, the morning after the sleepover, three girls head to the park, David's Park. Normal Saturday morning. They're playing, hanging out, being kids. And then Morgan and Anissa take Peyton into the woods, and they stab her 19 times with the kitchen knife that Morgan had hidden beforehand. Arms, legs, torso. One of the wounds came within 1 millimeter of her heart. 1 millimeter, bro. And then they just walked away, left her there in the woods, bleeding, alone, and started walking towards the forest to find Slender Man's mansion. Now here is the part of this story that I need you to really appreciate. Peyton did not die. This girl, bleeding from 19 stab wounds, crawled out of the woods by herself and made it to the side of the road where a cyclist found her. She crawled out of the woods. She was rushed to surgery and she survived. And honestly, that's the most incredible part of this whole story. Meanwhile, police found Morgan and Anissa walking on the interstate, backpacks on, full of supplies, clothes, food, photos. They were genuinely just walking to the forest to find the mansion. When police asked Morgan why she did it, she said she had to because Slender Man was watching and she didn't want her family to get hurt. She said that to a police officer with a straight face because she believed every word of it.
So obviously, both girls got arrested. And here's where it gets complicated, because these are 12-year-olds. They were charged as adults with attempted first-degree intentional homicide, which, okay, but also one of them has schizophrenia and genuinely could not tell fiction from reality. So what do you do with that? Morgan went through years of legal proceedings and was eventually found not guilty by mental disease. She was committed to a psychiatric institution and could be held until she's 57. Anissa, same outcome. Also committed, neither of them is just walking free, but neither of them is in prison either. It's one of those cases where the legal system had to figure out how to handle something it was not built for. As for Peyton, she recovered. She gave interviews years later under the name Bella. She talked about what happened in the woods. She said at first she didn't even understand what was going on. She just felt pain, and all she kept thinking about was that she wanted to go home. Man. And Eric Knudsen, the guy who actually created Slender Man, he was horrified when he found out. He spoke publicly and said he never wanted anything like this. And honestly, I believe him. He made a scary internet thing for a Photoshop contest. He didn't make a manual for 12-year-olds to lose their minds. But once something is on the internet, you kind of can't control what it becomes. And that's maybe the scariest part of this whole story. Look, I don't think this is a story about the internet being evil or horror being dangerous, because millions of people read creepypasta and never stabbed anyone, obviously. This is a story about two kids who fell through the cracks, whose obsession nobody caught in time, and a 12-year-old girl named Peyton who survived something that should have killed her, and from everything I can find is doing okay now. Which, honestly, good. She deserves that. Alright, that's it for me. If this broke your brain even a little bit, drop a comment. And if you want more stories like this every week, subscribe. I put way too much work into these for you to not hit that button. I'll see you in the next one.